Yes, yes, y'all. It is another week. It is Sipping Something Sexy on Sunday. I am your co-host, Amelia is more, and my girl, Brooklyn. Holla at us, Lynn. Yes. Lynn is by the poolside, so we're going to let her enjoy the sun and all of that. But thank you always for being here, my queen. Shout out to our producer, IMD Mecca. Was good, was good. And guess what? This beautiful, lovely, captivating woman that is sitting to my side, her name is none other than Miss Vanessa Whitley. Also, yes, sports extraordinaire. So everybody put your hands together. Welcome. And she's going to correct me because I said it wrong. And everybody knows I'm always good for that. But go ahead. Welcome, Vanessa.
Very nice to be here. Thank you, Amelia.
Yes, yes, yes. So correct me. What's the correct way to say it?
Whitney, Vanessa
Whitney. Not Whitley, like in different different strokes. So what was the name of the school? What was the name of that program? In Living Color.
No, different world.
Different world.
Lord have mercy.
I know there was a different. All right, the wine is already going to my head. Hey, Lynn, what are you sipping today?
I'm sipping on a lemon margarita.
Ooh. Frozen?
1800.
Ooh. Oh, so you really feeling nice. Are your eyes Chinese right now? Soon to be, soon to be. Well, our lovely guest brought in some clean slate Riesling, so I cannot wait to taste it. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
I like maple.
Yeah. So, to you, darling,
Well, thank you.
and
Chin chin.
to women in sports. So, we're going to start there, Vanessa. You have been dealing with sports and women in sports. No, not just yet. You have been doing sports and a woman in sports and advocating women in sports for so many years. I want you to talk about how you got into it, why it's important to you, and then we're going to talk about some of the challenges being a woman on the administrative side, on the business side in sports is like. So, how did it all begin, Vanessa?
Oh, funny. How did it all begin? Well, I had a 25-year career in luxury marketing. When my career took a left turn into luxury timepieces, and that company actually is the timekeepers and the partners and the sponsors of the world sports. And so from a professional standpoint, I really started getting a bird's eye view of how the backstory of sports happens. I actually did back in the day, NBC actually covered the Athens Olympics on a story that I created for timekeeping, which showed all of the cables and how actual Olympic events are actually timed. You know, which is really important to the athlete and you know what's happening overall. That's why they're there, right?
Exactly, break
And
them
so it was a
records.
phenomenal story. And then I'm the mother of 3 Amazon people, I like to say.
Yes,
So my daughters are 6'3" and 6'5" with no shoes on,
yes.
and my son's 6'7", and they were all amazing athletes. And so I am also a fan of sports. My brother actually played MLS soccer, played for the U.S. national team. So there's been sports in my life, you know, from when I was very young all the way through both my professional and my personal side, right?
Right.
And so getting into sports was, as an adult mom, right? I'm a mom. I'm sitting at sporting events. I've got to figure out, you know, schedules and places, and it's expensive.
Right.
You know, some sports for kids are very expensive, and so they're not really inclusive at that time because it's just expensive.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create a space where athletes could come, particularly volleyball players, because I knew I wasn't the only one with phenomenal athletes. Let's get it real. And I went to the region and said, hey, we need a combine. And they said, we don't do that. And I said, I'm sorry, what? You know, because it's like 5,000 and change and up to play on some of these really good teams. And I'm thinking to myself, and I said to them, how do you're saying you pay for education and training. The next level is getting them to college. How do you not help parents get them into college? We said, you didn't hear us? That's not what we do. And
That's
so
crazy.
It was. And I said, you know what? Where am I spending $20,000 over the course of 4 years for one? That's $40,000 for two, right? Over a high school career, I'm spending a years at a small college's tuition. Where's my ROI? And they were like, there's no ROI, it's youth sports. And I said, now you have my complete attention. And so I went about and I created what became the largest combine on the East Coast, copied by many. And $35.2 million went to the scholarships to the young ladies in this area. And I was doing things that regional area was not doing. For instance, when the hurricane hit New York, all of those athletes who needed to get into that combine for free, because that was how they're going to get to college, we gifted them in.
Nice.
And I still say, show me a youth sporting organization that does that. Hello.
That's non-existent.
We're all about kids,
Yeah, but they're not, and that's the thing that I loved about you and your program. Your program was dedicated to the transition and the exponential growth of an athlete from, this amateur level to the
now you're talking about the
professional
Liberty
level.
Games. That's
yes.
correct.
And that was the next thing that I wanted you to talk about, because you took it upon yourself. And I feel like sometimes as women in business, there's a nurturing side to us that doesn't exist. And no disrespect to our male counterparts, but doesn't exist with them as far as their logical progression
in
as
thought.
far as inclusion and expansion. So talk about why you started the Liberty Games and this phenomenal success that you had with that.
So the Liberty
What's
Games...
that? Wait, hold on. What's the echo?
Still like a little bird.
Mute it. Lynn, we're getting feedback from you. Okay. So go ahead.
So
Talk about the Liberty Games.
The Liberty Games is... actually, it was intended to be a multi-sport tournament. It was intended to be run as a for-profit organization. Most youth sporting events are nonprofits. And the reason that I did that was because there was to be an exponential payback at the end of the day, whereby any team that came to our tournament, we would pick up the training and travel for the next year. That was the give back of the Liberty Games. And probably the most impactful. But I have to say that was seconded only by the programming behind the Liberty Games. As someone who had gone to tournaments in California, and volleyball tournaments in Las Vegas where the Amazons play, and Boston, we've been all over the United States with volleyball with my girls, and I kept looking at this business model and saying, this is wrong. The kids stop playing, and sometimes they play into the evening, and we're in a rural town, and they're eating 7-Eleven for dinner.
Yeah, that's
and
not
I
cool.
was like, wow, we can do better than that. And you're playing them to death, for God's sake. So what is the give back? Mm-hmm. Yes, college coaches come, but they're only coming to the courts where you have the franchise player, that player that's going to get all those offers. Everybody else is just, playing. So I said, there's a better way to do this. Mm-hmm. And so the Liberty Games, under the banner of Fab to Fierce, because what I kept seeing with young ladies is they get to an age and they decide that they have to be fabulous or fierce. And I say we're both. Women are both.
Yes.
And so Fabulous to Fierce is really about creating a program where the girls can see themselves as fierce competitors and see themselves as beautiful individuals. Whatever that encompasses, that beautiful individual is celebrated and welcomed at the Liberty Games.
And yes, let's applaud that one, because that right there is phenomenal in itself. The other thing that I liked about what I saw with Liberty Games was that there was a creation of an international sisterhood that I didn't necessarily see in some of the other platforms that I have seen as far as competitive. Many of these combines, they make you so competitive that you hate the girl that's standing right next to you.
Right.
Yet the Liberty Games was the complete opposite. How did you create that, and why?
the saying goes, if you change a girl's trajectory, you can change her entire community's trajectory. And we all know that if you play better competition, you get better, right? So in the course of creating the Liberty Games, it came to our attention that the U.S. teams were not coming. And my background happens to be international business, so I reached out to my international community and brought in teams from China, Israel, Canada. We didn't have a huge tournament, but we had enough of a tournament with the girls that did attend, and some interesting things came out of that. So for instance, at the end of the tournament, the Chinese team were standing, all the girls were standing, and we said, go get your pens and pencils, exchange, your Instagrams and your Facebooks and your social media. And in that moment, the entire Chinese contingency lined up, put their hands clasped together in front of themselves and looked down. And I thought, oh my God, what's that? And then it hit me. I said, ooh, they don't have social media.
Now, back in that day, they really didn't.
Right,
now they do.
Right. And so I asked the girls to please go and, capture their actual addresses. And they are still pen pals to this day. I still get little notes that say, oh, I talked to so-and-so. And it's really amazing, that has come out of it. But, things like the Atlanta Boom, which was the first African-American volleyball club in America, came, and they had a very beautiful warm-up routine where they would sing and dance together. The Israeli team watched them for the first day and a half, and then all of a sudden we saw the entire Israeli team run over to Atlanta Boom and said, teach us. And it's these moments that really crystallized what magic we had created with the Liberty Games, Not just changing the business model, but changing the thought of how we viewed each other and interacted with each other, through this great program. And Mayor Bloomberg opened New York City to us, their tourism board. We had what we called a express package, which included 2 tourism activities. Included in their meals were their entire meal package, so they could take a culinary adventure in New York City and eat something different each night. We stayed at the Waldorf Astoria, which was amazing.
Absolutely.
And that really goes to the thought pattern of, you can tell a kid, dream big. But if they don't know what exists to dream about, they're not going to be able to dream big.
Exactly.
Big is a perspective.
Experience is a teacher.
Thank you.
Please give our kids experiences. We're going to pay some bills, and then when we come back, my girl Lynn's got a whole bunch of questions for Miss Vanessa. So right now, we're going to take a station break. I'm your host, Amelia Moore, along with my co-host, Brooklyn, and our producer, IMD Mecca, and you are watching Sipping Something Sexy on Sunday, right here on twitch.tv/IMD Mecca, as well as www.she'sthebossradio.com.
This is She's the Boss Radio Network. We are on 24 hours, 7 days a week, bringing you the best in internet radio with music, live DJs, talk shows, teen summits, live seminars, and more. So meet us in the B Lounge and become part of the STBRN family. We are She's the Boss Radio Network. Boss equals business owners, steadfast and strong. Strong.
All right, and we're back with our guest, Miss Vanessa Whitney, and our co-host, Brooklyn. So, Lynn, how's it going, and what questions do you have? Because I know you always got a whole bunch of stuff.
Hey, Vanessa, so everything you said was really interesting, and thank you for creating that avenue with the New York City Liberty Games, because it gave me more perspective on exactly what you guys were doing. I think it's monumental. I'm a huge sports fan, and when you were just saying that the Israeli team came over to try to learn, well, I had Just mixed emotions about that, but I get it.
Yep.
I'm glad they wanted to.
Yeah, they learned it and took it home, Lynn. They learned it and took it home, which is just, amazing. That's a cultural bridge there that was created in that moment.
That's the way I'm going to look at it. So, a couple of questions I did want to ask you. One, can you talk about V Media?
What?
V Media.
V Media. So V Media is my company that I created coming out of corporate America. The NAVS, which is the North Atlantic Volleyball Showcase that I spoke of earlier, and the New York City Liberty Games function under V Media. And V Media is events with purpose. And that purpose is, for all intents and realism, is God's purpose. It is my way of giving back, my way of expanding I hope what he would like us how he would like us to function and deal with each other by giving, because in service you receive. Let's be real.
Yes.
And I have been truly blessed in my journey, and even up to now. I'm seeing the seeds of what Fab to Fierce planted, because I keep saying, in the sports mecca, we must not assimilate or duplicate men's sports. They're women. There's so much more to women that are unique and fantastic and can be celebrated. And if you start to function in that space mindset-wise, then when you're looking at sponsors, our sponsor was SE Nail Polish. Why? Because volleyball players change their nail polish like nobody's business because they're playing volleyball with their hands, and they're most times on camera. It's a natural sponsor for volleyball. This is the way I approach my sponsorships. Natural, integrated, authentic reasons for a brand to be there. Hello. And so now, I think as women's sports, and this was 2013, we were really on the cutting edge of changing. What I love to say is we want to change female marketing for sports from a second thought to second nature.
Right.
Make it make sense.
Yes.
And that's really what I'm the poster child of that. That is I coined it. It's mine, and so I've approached sports from this perspective, and now where I'm at even today, right? So
Wait, we're gonna get to that. I don't want to give that away just yet.
But even where I'm at today, it really is about make it make sense.
Yes.
That's really what it's about.
Yes. Lynn?
Okay, so I have a couple of questions that I want to ask you. It's not like a lot.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear
Somebody
it.
getting a phone call?
Yep, we're getting a phone call. Hey, hey. Caller, hello. Welcome to the show. You sipping something sexy? Who's on the line?
This is Siobhan. Say what?
Hey, Siobhan from Say What in the Streets. What's up, Queen? How are you? Thank you for
I'm good.
Thank you for calling in and listening. So you got a question for our guest or a comment?
I just have a comment. I just want to say thank you for putting that information out there about women's sports and different ways to market. I grew up an athlete, and yeah, it was a little different. And I know what is this, the 50th year that women were actually granted the right to play? This year. So I just want to say again, thank you again for what you were saying, and you were absolutely right about volleyball players changing their nail polish.
I know.
Was that your sport,
I wish
Siobhan?
Essie would call me. I really, the New York Liberty, those girls are wearing nail polish too. It makes sense. I am the queen, and I have 10 years of research. Hello. So thank you for the cosign, Ms. Siobhan. Thank you so much.
So what else did you want to say?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Siobhan. I love you, love you, love you.
Love you too. Y'all be good.
You too.
You too. Thank you so much for that calling. So a couple other things I wanted to ask Vanessa. One, so you have 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
One has won the NCAA chip twice.
Yeah, for
Can we
volleyball.
talk about that? I'm big on NCAA. So
Sure.
Ow!
Yay! So, first of all, we have to go back a little bit. I call my oldest daughter the Rosa Parks of New Jersey volleyball
Woo! Go ahead.
because there weren't many young ladies of color playing at that time, and she had gotten some accolades and didn't get just due. Let's just put it that way. But there's 4 years between my daughters, and I like to say that I went and got that T-shirt, the one that says she's that mom. I own that.
Hey.
And I got a PhD in recruiting, basically, right? Because no one was people just didn't know in this area because there weren't a lot of athletes getting to that high, like there's many more now, right? But there weren't a lot getting to that high echelon in volleyball. And I actually ended up, I turned down a major scholarship because I didn't know the recruiting rules, Miss Lynn. And here's the thing. I had paid $300 at some tournament to learn recruiting rules, and I walked out not knowing any more than I walked in there with, and I was mad. And so I created under V Media the North Atlantic Recruiting Services, whereby I would give parents a tutelage in recruiting. But here's the thing. Most of the time when you sit at these recruitment conversations, they're telling you the perspective of the college coach. I don't need the perspective of the college coach. I need the perspective of the athlete. What does the athlete need to do to ensure that they are sound, both from a NCAA clearinghouse perspective and an academic perspective and an amateur perspective? How do you make sure that that happens? And so that was the perspective that I gave. And I would get amazing results. Parents would be like, oh my God, because I'm giving it to you on a platter. And it's so important that you understand what you can and cannot do. For instance, many high school counselors did not know at that time that there is, particularly in New Jersey, there is a online high school, which if a student tanks a math class in 9th grade, that can kill their chances to be in the NCAA clearinghouse.
Wow.
Okay? So if you know that that kid can take the class online and it clears the NCAA requirements, now that's another resource so many parents did not know. And I'm having these conversations in auditoriums all over New Jersey, talking to student athletes, and in the first conversation where I say, well, here's the thing, guys, you can drive a hoopty, or you can drive the Benz. You can live in the projects, or you can own the house. What's the differentiator? Education.
Absolutely.
Education.
Absolutely.
Experience. Knowledge. And education doesn't mean necessarily formal, because there's lots of ways you can get education. But for these particular student athletes, it is about that college education. So that's what I'm speaking to right now. And so if they can understand that, and in the first 15 minutes of that conversation, I'm crushing them because I'm telling them, the NCAA doesn't pay attention to your GPA that your high school gives you. There's the secret. They have their own metric for your GPA. They don't count PE and French and Spanish. They only count the 4 core courses: science, English, history, math. Those are the only courses that they're counting in your GPA. So you're thinking like in your high school, you got a C or a D, but you've got a A in PE. It's going to balance it out, yes, on your high school GPA, but it does not balance out on your NCAA clearinghouse GPA, and that is the issue. And so many of them don't know it, and so they're falling through the cracks. So 10 years I spent going down those cracks and recovering as many as I could.
Wow.
And speaking to high schools all over New Jersey, coaches, counselors, just to get the information out there, But I probably needed a bigger platform, hence the move to the Liberty Games. And the Liberty Games was so amazing. I have to say that I couldn't get it done 2 years in a row. I couldn't. I think because it was just such a amazing program, people are adverse to change. Let's put it that way.
Well, you know what, Vanessa, I'm just going to speak a little bit on that too, because sometimes,
You were there.
yes, sometimes being the innovator, people get threatened and challenged by the innovation, especially when they don't understand the perspective. And so you came with something that was so phenomenal, that the supply and demand was so real, that the powers that be were fearful that you would take away from them.
True.
And unfortunately, they did, to me, in my perspective, watching the whole thing go down, they didn't understand that that wasn't what you were doing. You were not trying to cancel out. You were trying to improve something that you already had a lot of regard for, but understood the inequities as well as
where it could build out to be more
Right.
powerful and more
the
powerful.
shortcomings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, they didn't know how to get in where they fit in.
Yeah,
What
well.
you're basically saying is that they saw what you were doing, became intimidated by it, and so chose to not join it. Where a smart business person is saying, yo, this person's on to something, we need to get on board.
Yeah.
And again, you know, this is where, as somebody that deals with the youth and programs, both profit and nonprofit, I have an issue. Because a lot of these programs care about the program more than they care about the children, whereas Miss Vanessa was caring about the children and created a program that was both.
That really feeds
That was
them.
both.
That was the thing.
Exactly. We're going to get ready in a few more seconds to take a station break. But at this moment, I wanted to, you know, salute and give homage to another guest that we have in our house, which is Vanessa's mom. So, yay! Tell them
Mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law. Still mom. You know what I mean? So if you want to just come up real quick and just grace and say hello to our people so that they know that we are multi-generational in this building, always sipping something sexy. Come right here in this middle, right
Say
over
hi right
here.
here.
Come right here, right
Okay.
here. So that everybody can see how fabulous you are. I'm just loving you and this necklace. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So how are you enjoying sipping something
Oh, I
sexy?
just love it. I love it from the both of you.
Yes, likewise.
Yeah.
And people, this is what it's all about. We must always honor our queens before us,
Amen.
because without their knowledge, we're nothing. And so I thank you so much for coming here today
Oh, thank
and
you.
sharing your time with us.
Thank you. And you know what? I went to Mary Potter Rhinestone Academy in Knoxville, North Carolina.
There you go.
I came to Spelman, Atlanta. And that's where I'm graduated from.
Spellman, that's
Okay.
one of the best.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Black don't crack, y'all.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. We're going to go get ready to take a station break. I am your host, Amelia is Moore, with my co-host, Brooklyn. And our producer, IMD Mecca. You're watching Sipping Something Sexy on Sundays right here on twitch.tv/IMD Mecca, as well as www.she'sthebossradio.com.
This is the official She's the Boss Radio Network. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station. She's the Boss Radio Network. Radio Network. Radio Network. She's the Boss Radio Network.
This is She's the Boss Radio Network. We are on 24 hours, 7 days a week, bringing you the best in internet radio with music, live DJs, talk shows, teen summits, live seminars, and more. So meet us in the V Lounge and become part of the STBRN family. We are She's the Boss Radio Network. Boss equals business owners, steadfast and strong. Strong.
Hey, and we're back. I want to thank my caller Siobhan as well as my girl Brooklyn. Hey, Lynn, how was your week and what have you been doing? Because I got to talk about yesterday. Woo, girl.
A busy week. Had a lot that's going on. So it was productive, and it's about to become much more productive.
There you go. There you go. Steady writing. I don't know if y'all don't know, but my co-host is a mean writer. So make sure you check out Gray Area and the Grinding and all the other projects that she's doing because it's phenomenal. So I got to give you the skinny. Yesterday, I was in the Bronx. Shout out to the Universal Museum of Hip Hop. Shout out to Mickey Benson. Shout out to the Zulu Nation. And shout out to Queen Lisa Lee. Oh my gosh. When I tell you all the old true school DJs, MCs, heads was in the building yesterday at a park. We had a block party right there in the Bronx. It was so fabulous. I mean, I was enjoying. It started at 10 a.m. It ended at 8 p.m. And I'm telling you, we rocked the whole time through.
Awesome.
Exactly. I'm so excited. Also, for all the people that have been beginning to follow us, I want to shout out to a jewelry line because, Lynn, we have been asked to be an ambassadors, and it's called Gilo. And it's a fabulous line dedicated to the Aborigines in Australia. So, yes. And, man, we're going to be giving you more on that. You'll be seeing more of it in our merchandise link. And Mecca, what is that link for them to check out our merchandise? You know, I'm still learning all of this stuff.
It is streamlabs.com/IMDMecca/merch.
Yep. Say it one more time.
www.streamlabs.com/IMDMecca/merch.
Hey, so next show, I've been telling y'all I'm going to start rocking it, but next show you're going to start seeing me rock some of the different attire that we have, not only for We Got Straight Convo, but also for sipping something sexy on Sundays. Are you almost done with your glass? I'm about to refill mine, Lynn. What about you?
No, I came inside.
Oh, you came inside.
You can only hear me and not see me. There's no sense in me baking in the 95-degree heat.
Exactly. But we're going to get ready to welcome our guest back, Miss Vanessa Whitley and V Media. Yes, the queen is back in the building. Welcome. So I wanted to touch on what it means to be a woman in sports. And Lynn, you can chime in anytime you want. But Vanessa, what does that mean to you? And what are some of the things that we still need to do for women to really have a voice in sports?
You know, I've been very lucky in my career. I've had some wonderful opportunities to work with some magnificent people. But there's always that gap, right? Because let's face it, men and women are different, period. And that's fine. Why don't we lean into the differences? That's what I say.
Exactly, that's what I say.
Lean into the difference because then you have a whole. You have both sides of the story. And, you know, oftentimes our voices are not heard. You know, it's changing now. We're watching the landscape change now. More and more women are getting into the C-suite, the VPs. They're becoming equity owners, which is really exciting. You know, Melody Hobson,
yes.
Serena Williams,
yes,
are leading that charge. Condoleezza Rice is now an owner. Hello. So it's
Wait a minute,
amazing.
hold up. Condoleezza Rice is an owner of what?
I believe the Denver Broncos.
Oh.
I believe. I could be wrong, but I
Wow.
So
I didn't know that. Go ahead.
So there's a lot of change that's happening, right? And I have always been a change agent. I believe in change. I believe in evolution. You know, I loved the way that Serena explained her
yes.
departure from professional sports as an evolutionary
yes.
transition. I thought it was fantastic. But that's what we do as women. We evolve.
Yep.
And we have a different perspective. And if we can find spaces where that perspective is honored and heard, then I think you're going Yes, I think you're going to see some exponential growth. Not to say that the perception and the information and the status quo is not important or is not a great foundation. I'm just saying we can add to that to grow something exponentially bigger.
And for
That's
me,
inclusive.
Yeah, and for me, I just feel like, the human experience doesn't just separate just one human type. It's for everyone, especially when you talk about sports. Sports is a family function. It's a entertainment that involves everyone, and everyone can be involved. I see some women like Lynn who can talk sports and out-talk some brothers.
Right.
Giving you stats and all of that.
Right.
And that should not be muted. That's just passion and just, intellect combined along with just the enjoyment of the sport itself. Speaking of evolution, you are evolving into the tech world.
Yes, I am.
What caused you to evolve into this tech world and talk about this new technology? By the way, all investors pay attention at this point of the show. That you've now put into beta.
So, yes, we are evolving. God is good.
Yes,
Let's
all the
start there.
time.
And He has given me another vision.
Right?
And I have managed to put that vision and manifest that vision into now. And
Yes.
so that vision became Sports Fan Nation. Yay!
Yeah, we got to give an applause for
Hello.
that.
And
Yes.
Sports Fan Nation is a disruptive platform. And so what is it disrupting, Vanessa? Well,
The
it is
fan-based
disrupting two things, actually. It is disrupting sponsorship as we view it, and it is disrupting fan engagement as we redefine it. And so what does that mean? What that means is that Sports Fan Nation is, well, let me back up a little bit. Hello. let me tell you how old I am. Hello.
Yes,
So
darling.
I was driving home from work one night.
What happened was...
What happened was I was driving home from work one night and I was trying to reach my 3 children to give instruction. Hello. And no one was picking up the phone. I was very frustrated and furious by the time I arrived home, right? And I come in the door, guns blazing. And I'm stopped short because I see them actually sitting at the dining room table, all 3 of them. They've got their books out, they're doing homework, but hey, their phone is sitting right next to them. All of them have a phone. And I'm like, dudes, please explain to your mother why you did not pick up the phone. I have been calling. And my oldest, Anissa Claire, says, Mom, why didn't you text us? And I said, I don't know how to text. That's right.
That part.
Okay. So that night, after I cooled off, I went to her and I said, can you show me how to text? And and this is the text, remember, where you had to press a button and it would give you 3 letters, right? And you had to choose through the letters. It was ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Yes. And I'm learning to text. And as I'm learning to text, my marketing hat is bells and whistles are going off. Oh my God, this is important. This is important. I don't know why it's important, but I realize that it's important. And I say to her, can you just please tell me why you didn't pick up the phone? And she said, Mom, the phone is too personal. And I went, what? It's too personal? And that's when I realized that this texting thing is a boundary. It allows them to choose when to engage or not engage, who they will engage with or not engage. It had other it had
Yes,
connotations.
exactly.
It had connotations that I'm still unraveling, okay? And it caused me to really stop and think about how that generation, she's a millennial, how that generation is actually functioning. And this idea this vision that God gave me sits squarely inside of how they engage. So Sports Fan Nation is first and foremost a digital mobile sponsorship asset. The entire platform is a sponsorship asset. It sits mobily, which is in the hand of the fan. And what have we learned from COVID? We need to find the fan in the bar. on the sofa, in the arena, at the tailgate. They must be accessible.
Exactly. Exactly.
On the flip side, Sports Fan Nation redefines fan engagement from being news, stats, highlights, and I'm sorry I'm going to say this, but Miss Vanessa says that is counterintuitive and it's a data dump. The word engagement denotes a two-way conversation. None of that is a two-way conversation.
Exactly.
And so what we've created is features on this platform that allows fans to do two things: have a voice inside the event that they're attending and become content creators that they are born to do and be. It naturally sits with them. We give them a toolbox to play with, and they become content creators, and all of that content has the integrated marketing of the event, the team, the league, or even the athlete.
There you go.
Right? And the sponsors are built in. And so as the fans amplify that content out, because we connect where? We connect to Jumbotrons in arena. We connect to live streams. We can connect to a linear broadcast feed. We connect direct to all socials.
Wow.
So as they're placing that content out, we are tracking using metadata and artificial intelligence the actual data behind all of that engagement. And we give brands a brand new ROI on the power of impressions.
Woo!
Now, what's
I like
really
that.
funny, you want to hear what's
POI
funny?
on the
Hello?
ROI, the power of impressions from the return on investment.
Thank you. And what's really funny is that Black Twitter gave me, they actually literally gave me proof of concept.
Yes.
Because they got into a big old fight, if y'all remember, between Chick-fil-A and Popeyes.
Yep.
And that agency estimated that Popeyes received $23.25 million in media ad value.
Wow.
And what that means is, if Popeyes had gone to Facebook and Instagram and all those places, Twitter, all those places where Black Twitter and Black social media was happening, and placing Popeyes is my favorite and this is why, they would have spent $23.25 million that those fans
didn't
of that
cost them a
chicken
dime.
sandwiches gave them for free.
Yep. Didn't cost
And
them
that's
a
the
dime.
metric we are actually going with our product. And it works.
Yes, yes. The part that I love is that anybody and everybody can engage at the same time.
Correct.
So, like, lots of times you're watching the MMA, you know, and somebody's knocking somebody the heck out, and you're like, damn! You know, you actually could probably get that fighter, turn around and say, yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it?
Yep.
Imagine that impact as a fan hearing from the person that I've been rooting for.
Right.
You know, so it creates this whole different type of engagement that I salute you on, because
Thank you.
it's
I'm
really,
really
out
proud
the box.
of our patent pending. I'm proud of the traction that we're getting. We're really talking to some big brands right now, and you know, our little friends and family investors. You know, they actually, people make jokes and they say friends, family, and fools, but I say this: they are the most magnificent people who could get behind a founder.
Yep.
And oftentimes what happens is an angel gets in between them and then your big Series A raise, right? And then they lose. And so Sports Fan Nation has stayed away from the angel. Mm-hmm. We've looked for the exit or the Series A. We know what we have. We know the product we have. We know people are behind the scenes with their, you know, trying to move things so that it's a different outcome. But I'm rolling with God, so there is no different outcome.
That's right. Say that again.
Hello, rolling with
Roll with God.
So, you know, it's really it's been an amazing journey, this thing called Sports Fan Nation.
Well, with that, we're going to go take our last commercial break, pay these bills, and we'll be right back with the fabulous Miss Vanessa and Fan Base Nation, right?
Sports Fan Nation.
Sports Fan Nation, my bad. you know me in names, y'all. I am your co-host, Amelia is more with my girl, Brooklyn, as well as our producer, IMD Mecca. You're watching Sipping Something Sexy on Sundays right here on twitch.tv/IMD Mecca, as well as www.she'sthebossradio.com. We'll be right back.
This is She's the Boss Radio Network. We are on 24 hours, 7 days a week, bringing you the best in internet radio with music, live DJs, talk shows, teen summits, live seminars, and more. So meet us in the V Lounge and become part of the STBRN family. We are She's the Boss Radio Network. Boss equals business owners, steadfast and strong. Strong. Strong.
This is the official She's the Boss Radio Network. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station. She's the Boss Radio Network. Radio Network.
And we're back, y'all. We're back, y'all. Sipping on something sexy. You were saying that you love this?
Fabulous scent you're wearing, yes.
Yes. I thought you was talking about the wine.
No, the scent.
Oh, thank you. So, we talked about what it means to be a woman in sports. We talked about the need for us to nurture more and give more opportunity, in particularly to children of color as they're growing through this due to the cost factor. We talked about the Sports Fan Nation and how this is disrupting, our engagement as fans. Where do you see sports going in the future? Because there's now this new metaverse, you know what I mean? And I'm wondering this separation between actual human connection versus this VR, AR world. And the only analogy that I can make best to it was when I was in Dallas, Texas, with their 60-yard television set, and finding myself, even though I was seeing real football players really play the game, watching the TV set more than I was watching the actual game. And it was this whole weird, which one do I like more? What do you see for the future?
I don't think technology will replace the awesomeness of live sports. I don't think it'll ever do that. But I do think, and I just saw something actually recently in the metaverse, which was really cool, whereby your experience in the metaverse was duplicated in real life. So if I bought a seat in a metaverse stadium, right? If I bought that seat, I would also be buying the seat in real life in the real stadium. And I think that is kind of one of the ways that it's going to go, so that the experience mirrors itself. And let's face it, this is really about experiences, right? Right now, technology has a little bit of an issue with augmented reality, I think, because it's a one-off.
Augmented.
Well, I love augmented. It's just, I think it's not used properly, and you'll see a version of it in one of our Sports Fan Nation features coming up soon. But the augmented reality is a one-off.
Yeah, I like augmented. I don't like virtual.
Right. There's a difference.
There is a huge difference.
Yeah. Virtual, I think they haven't perfected it yet. Augmented is really interesting because those experiences are right here live in front of your face, right? Some just using your mobile phone or your PC. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Virtual is a different thing. You have to have that third.
It's stagnated to me.
Really?
It's.
I think it's got to grow. I don't think it's there
not real
yet.
to me. I outside of people possibly having epileptic fits from some of the experiences, but it's just maybe it's because of the goggles and the other apparatus that you need to have. It doesn't feel real. Like you don't feel connected. You don't feel involved.
But I think as they develop
It's external.
it will have all of those things imbued in it. I think that's what they're really going to be reaching for. And I always say, science fiction is a precursor to real life. If you look back at some of the really cool science fiction that has existed in the past, there's that...
we're living in the era of Jetsons.
Yes.
Everything
Yes.
the Jetsons, everything the Jetsons showed that we said, "Oh wow, that's crazy! Imagine if that could ever happen." We're doing it now. We've got video phones. We've got walking sidewalks.
I
We've
think
got
the bigger question, Amelia, is artificial intelligence for good? I think that's the bigger question. That we
Yeah.
have people who are creating technologies, and are they for our good?
No.
We just watched, there's a great, The Great Hack. It's a great Netflix documentary on what they actually did through Facebook and the data that they were actually able to accumulate on behalf on people. And I think that is the bigger question. How do we give ownership of our data back to the individual? My next thing, that's what I'm working on next. How do we own our own data? And if it's going to be monetized, why isn't it monetized on my behalf? It's my data, right? So these are all questions I'm throwing out right now. There aren't really great answers to, but I think that's where we've got to put our energies into. What are we doing for good? I love you.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like technology should be an assistant to, not a replacement of. And we have to really look at the quality of life and how it affects it. Sometimes all of these invasions and all of our privacy is actually manipulating us to a certain direction, as opposed to us just staying in the inquisitive human state where we're explorative. I don't like that, you send me what you think I will be interested in. And I have fun with the algorithm just to confuse the hell out of him. I'll find something that I truly cannot stand and just put it in there just to see.
Just to see.
Right.
Yeah.
And it confuses the hell out of him. And then for a while there, at least for a day, I'm getting all kind of crazy stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Until
yeah.
the algorithm says, "Oh, they were just messing with me," and then they put it back to what.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the part.
Let me ask Vanessa a couple of questions.
Sure.
We don't have the time to do the 5 words. I wrote some words down. Vanessa, just tell us the first thing that comes to your mind when I say these words.
Okay.
It
Oh,
doesn't have to be a long.
danger, Will Robinson.
We got like 7 minutes left. So, really 2 minutes for the segment. Whitney Griner.
What was the first word?
What did say it again, Lynn?
Whitney Griner. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Freedom.
Okay. That's the territory. Volleyball.
Ballet.
Would you say ballet?
Yes.
Yep. Ballet.
So, I'm going to say, the last thing, female athletes, salary.
What's the last word?
Female athletes, what?
Salary.
Salary.
No cap.
I like that.
No cap. No cap.
No cap.
We're going to see it. We're going to see it. And we're going to see it, in a completely different iteration than what we're looking at right now. I really believe that. I believe that. There's so many limitations that existed. You had a 6th Avenue limitation. You had a limitation on who you could be. You had authenticity. Oh my God. And this new generation is erasing those boundaries. And so with that erasure, you're going to start to see a real mark, an indelible mark, movement, evolution forward in women's sports. We saw it in tennis, right?
Yeah.
Billie Jean King, she changed the game.
Yep, she
right?
did.
But that next iteration, that Serena athlete changed the game.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to see across sports, truly.
And it's time for it, personally. I feel like it's time. This whole line of less than is appalling to me because of the mere fact that we're the ones that create. So, how can you be less than when you're the one that brings life? Answer that question.
And you know what? Here's a good one I saw today. Dennis Rodman, speaking on behalf of Brittany Griner, is planning to go to Russia and advocate for her freedom. Mr. Rodman's daughter is the highest paid soccer player in the Women's National Soccer League as of today or yesterday, I think it was.
Nice. As it should be.
Evolution.
Evolution. Vanessa, is there anything that we didn't mention that you want to make sure that everyone that is listening and watching this, and also give them where they can follow you before the show ends?
I don't even know my social handles. It's terrible.
Leave it to the youth.
No, I am Miss Vanessa on Instagram, but there's the New York City Liberty Games, there's the NAVS, and then I am Miss Vanessa. That's all the socials I do, really. I have a Twitter, but I don't know what that is either. And you can find me, Vanessa Whitney. I'm there. But the only thing that I would say is advocate for your children. Advocate, be involved, figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, make a phone call. There's a lot of us out there with great information that we can share. There are a lot of advocates out there we can share. That's one. And two, never be afraid of the vision that you're given. March to a different drum. Go for it.
Yes. Didn't I tell you she was fabulous? I'm always marching to that different
That's
drum.
right.
Sometimes it's a blessing, and sometimes it's a challenge.
Yeah, well.
I'm not going to say it's a curse, because to me it's never a curse. It's just a challenge.
Yes.
Because sometimes God gives you something that others are not ready to receive.
Sometimes you need the challenge to learn
Yes.
how to function in that other space.
That's very, very true. Very, very true. Well, wait, your audio is messed up, Lynn. I don't know why. Say it one more time, please. Maybe take it off speaker if you have it on speaker. No, darling, we can't hear you.
Try it again.
Vanessa?
Yes, there you go.
I thought that you were wasted when you can Sapphire Entertainment. Link to my follow.
I
I
will.
am a huge sports fan and advocate.
Fantastic.
I'm in the South now, and just to say that when we see sports as something that we look at and entertain, these sports families down here stick behind their kids from little league
Yep.
all the way up through NCAA until they get pro, because this is the only way a lot of us can get their families out of the road.
Yep.
So we definitely need to do more as far as educating them and making ourselves advocates for them. So thank you for what you do, Vanessa. It is a pleasure and an honor having you on the show today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. If anybody's listening out there that actually runs volleyball tournaments, it's my dream to commentate a volleyball game.
All right, we're putting that in the universe.
Gonna put that in the air.
We're putting that in the universe. She's going to be commentating the next volleyball game.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Well, Vanessa, thank you so much. You guys, definitely, we can't do this without you. Shout out to all my people in the chat. I love every single one of you. I'm loving the. Yes, I'm loving all the comments and stuff. And to Siobhan that called in, love the support. I mean, this is what it's all about, y'all. And I definitely got to plug a new television network called NubianTV.net. They are definitely elevating the imagery of what it means to be black, and we need to support that. Not all of us are thugs. Not all of us are thoughts. So, with that, I'm just going to say, check it out. I'm your co-host, Amelia is More. Who else is on the line with me? And our producer, IMD Mecca. You have been watching Sipping Something Sexy right here on twitch.tv/IMD Mecca, as well as www.shesthebossradio.com. Make sure you follow us on YouTube under the same thing, Sipping Something Sexy. Make sure you also follow us on IG, Sipping Something Sexy. You know it's us because it'll say Amelia and Lynn. And definitely make sure you go get our t-shirts, because pretty soon when you're rocking it, you're going to get extra benefits. So from wine to jewelry. So make sure you go to, where is that address again, Mecca? www.
Streamlabs.com/IMDMecca/merch.
Well, but that's all, folks. Check us out every second and fourth Sunday of the month. And guess what? We've got Ilyasa Shabazz coming, Malcolm X's daughter. That's how we're bringing it, y'all. So stay tuned right here and stay tuned for more. Till next week, 2 weeks. See ya. Peace.
Peace. We gone.
Out.